I thought my offer for you all would be, I run a nonprofit called Clarity for Action, and the website is Clarity for Action, which is the number 4 action.org. And it's an organization committed to upgrading people's decision making. And so when you think about how we make 35,000 decisions a day on average, and we're not taught how to make great decisions, and there's an easy way and a repeatable process, and it combines brain research and decision science and what we know about social emotional learning. And there's all these discoveries about how we can be whole people, aligning our decision making with who we are and what we care about, and having a way to integrate our head and heart in our decision making. So it's a whole person decision. So we take powerful action in our lives through action, right? As how we show up is how we want to show up. And so I wanted to talk a little bit. It's been on my mind lately, thinking about COVID, and we're like, oh, vaccine, but then there's a million more questions that come up, and all that swirl of what does all this mean and where's our society going? And that is something called cognitive overload. And so sometimes actually there's a really simple solution when we feel that swirl of a lot of things bouncing around in our heads. I know for me, it can be thinking about my parents or Cliff's parents, as well as my children, and how to kind of facilitate these people who want to have more autonomy in my kids, and yet I have older people who want to maintain their autonomy, but maybe we need to do some modifying of their lifestyle or trimming. And so there's a great tool we have called Sort Yourself Out. And I have it on a little thumb drive. So while I'm booting this up, I would like to just encourage you to put in the chat. China, I'm not going to be able to see the chat necessarily from Facebook, the end of the Facebook chat. So if you can post it in the chat on our Zoom, that would be great. So I'm just launching a PowerPoint right now. The other great, oh, is B. Jackson supposed to be coming in? Uh-oh.
Yep.
Guess what?
Wait a second. No, you're right.
Okay. He just panicked. Just okay. Go eat lunch.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Welcome to my world. I love it. And so I just want to share this PowerPoint with you, and it's a tool that will drop the links for you to be able to get the free download of the sheets that I'm going to share with you, so that you can walk through it when you're feeling flooded, that it's there available for you to kind of just sort yourself out and figure out what you're deciding. And there's my email, amy@clarityforaction.org. So you're also welcome to reach out to me at any time. So just to give you some context, when I talked about a whole person decision making, it's really 4 areas of your life getting in alignment to make a really great decision that's anchored in yourself. So at Clarity for Action, we have these 4 components. The first one is your values. So it's your core motivation, it's your values, it's your strength, it's your vision for your life that actually is like the fuel. That's why I have a little guy with plugging in his heart or her heart or their heart. That energizes you through roadblocks you might come up against or challenges along the way. So always tapping back into your personal why. I've heard speakers over and over talk this morning about their why. Like, I did this and I was inspired and this was my why. So it's powerful. So we teach that. And then we also teach my internal operating system would be the next step, which is that integrating your head and heart. And when we think about ourselves as an integrated system, we're born into this machine. So to kind of reject the fact that we're a human being living our lives is kind of cutting off our arm. So we can be tricked by our thinking, by biases we might not be aware of. Stereotype is a classic example of a bias, but do you know that there's a bias that's either this or that? It also can be called black and white thinking. So we don't think about how to combine possibilities for ourselves and kind of busting out our limited thinking to say what gets me more of what I want, which kind of taps back into your values. And then the other piece is, am I emotionally regulated? I know we're all frustrated sometimes, or angry, or sad, or whatever. So to have an awareness of your emotional state, or if you have kids, gosh, the classic is I'm cooking food, or I'm in the kitchen and my kids come in and say, I got to make a decision. And I'm like, okay, I'm making food. How about we eat something? Are you hungry? Because I know the time of day, that they're young, that they're going to maybe be hungry, and that's going to impair their decision fitness. So we can leverage our system to support us, or it can limit us. So when we think about our emotional state, sometimes it's helpful to say, halt. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired? And that's super powerful. I'm seeing that B is in the waiting room. I'm going to admit her, I guess. Then you have the decision process. So the decision process is from decision science. It's been used for over 50 years to make great decisions in huge companies. And we've made it a roadmap for personal decision making. And there's just 6 clear steps, boom, 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 that captures all of your whole self in your decision making. And finally, when you've done that process, you get clear, you can take action. Your evidence that you're clear about your decision making is your ability to take action, and that you've tapped into what you care about. If it feels like there's an effort, like it's like walking through mud, you probably missed something. So, and just to say, we teach and coach young people, we teach and coach emerging adults, we teach and coach parents and mentors in this whole person decision-making process, applying it to yourself, because it's so valuable when you have a good system like this. As I get better at it, I'm better at it as a parent, I'm better at it as a daughter, I'm better at it as a spouse or partner in life. So it's super powerful. So today's activity is called Sort Yourself Out. And when we have things swirling, we can capture it by moving it out of our brains. Our brains can be file cabinets, but sometimes that's exhausting. So to be able to shift that out of our heads onto a piece of paper relieves us of cognitive overload. So we actually can be more actively involved with the thinking part of our brain to make a good choice. So make a list, a mind map, a doodle, whatever you want of all the decisions that are on your mind. Just throw them out there. It can even be like dinner, whatever's on your mind. So in the current life, I picked some like, do I work from home still once things change after COVID? How am I going to engage with the community with COVID? Am I starting a business? Where do I have work-life balance? Or how can I have work-life balance? How can I meet my social needs? Or who's in my social pod as things are constantly changing? And I think a lot of people, I've heard a lot of parents, we hybrid homeschooled our kids, heard a lot of parents say, wait, maybe there's another way. Do I want to engage with my kids as self-directed learners? Do I want to change that path of their education that's more meaningful in a way that serves them better and serves our family better? So these are some of the swirls that can happen. Then what we're going to look at is kind of like our readiness. So do I feel like I have things kind of put together, like I got it figured out, I'm ready to make this decision. Because at the end, you're wanting to declare a powerful decision and say, I'm choosing this. And that's where we're hoping to get you to, right? And so that's an indication of like, you're ready to work on that decision, you feel prepared. So when we look at readiness, you can also do this with Post-its or pieces of colored paper or whatever you want. I just made this nice sheet for you to be able to capture in green, like the ones you're ready to make. So you take that list and you're going to copy it over onto the sheet. Ones that you're ready to make, ones that you're less ready to make, and then ones that you're just not feeling ready at all. So it's sort of a confidence level. It's just a read at how you're feeling about it, because that helps you understand the support you might need, or you might ask your partner to support you, or that kind of thing. I did set up a free sort yourself out strategy call on my schedule. So if you're feeling like I'm struggling just even knowing what to decide or how or what's going on, that just book a free strategy call, and we can, I can support you on sorting some stuff out and getting resources that would support your decision making. So what it looks like is this. So work from home. Oh, I feel ready to make that decision. Maybe it's less ready. How am I going to engage my community? Or starting a business, like I don't even know what that means. And these are all hypotheticals, right? Yours would look whatever it looks like. Who's in our social pod? I kind of feel like I got that right now, and I can visit it later. Kids as self-directed learners, maybe that feels really muddy. Your question could be, what is school going to look like in the future for our family? It just depends on your choices. So then we move from readiness to actually figuring out what decisions are you going to address in this moment. Okay. We're still swirling. There's still a lot going on. It's okay. So the third step is really sorting yourself out. And it's taking all of these shapes and putting them in these columns. What have I already decided? Maybe there's some that you're like, wait, I've already decided that. And some that you're like, I got to think about this now. And some you're like, wait, I didn't realize this, but this could be in the parking lot for later. One thing I do want to say about the decided column, we have a lot of things that we've already decided. It can be everything from safety, like safety policies. I heard a lot about safety policies and health policies today. Safety, even I decided, or my parents actually trained me to be decided about putting my seatbelt on when I drive in a car, or I might have a policy around my family, or those kinds of things. So those are policy decisions you've already made. You can always revisit them, but you can leave them as decided. And they actually help inform your decisions going forward. So this looks like taking those, work from home. I decided that already. Deciding how do I engage in the community? Starting a business, you know what? I'm feeling like there's too much going on. I'm going to decide that later. Who's in my social pod? I feel ready to do that. And I think I got it handled. And finally, kids as self-directed learners, I kind of feel like I got to start thinking about fall, because this year's kind of blown. And so what's fall going to look like? And it seems like a big process. So, and again, these are on the document you'll download. The link to my calendar is a hyperlink off the PDF. And then I think also China was gonna drop the link into the chat. And Let me see if there's any questions in here yet. Okay, she's got in the Zoom chat, I'll make sure that it's also in the Facebook group, that the Sort Yourself Out worksheet packet is in there for you. And she also dropped the link to scheduling a free Sort Yourself Out call. And I'm certainly here to support you. And if you have any questions at all, just let's take a moment. Anybody have a question in the chat? Awesome. The last thing I was going to mention is I have an email blast that I do called Thoughtful Thursday. And that's just it's a short, like 2-minute video and text as well, so that people can access it in whatever learning preference they have. And it just shows up in your email inbox. And it's called Thoughtful Thursday. And it's just a little win in your decision making. And it can feel overwhelming, and that there's a lot swirling. And certainly we have a lot of resources for you. So thanks for letting me share today, and happy decision making. And I'm going to turn it back over to Cliff.